What's up? Welcome in to Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Thanks so much for downloading the podcast and checking us out on YouTube, youtube.com. Look for Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. It's one thing for you to enjoy what we're doing. But what I would tell you is that you should like, share, and the key word is share. For you to watch and check out our NFL draft coverage is great, but I want you to share with others, your friends and your enemies. For Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood, like, share, subscribe, and comment to everything we do. With Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood, we're presented by delicious, Alexander James Whiskey. Yes, Alexander James Whiskey. That's where you go. Make sure you go to alexanderjameswhiskey.com. We have the link in the bio. Make sure you're checking out the finest in whiskey, the official whiskey of Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Go there, alexanderjameswhiskey.com. There is an Alexander James whiskey bottle waiting for you on a shelf near your home. 49 states. So check it out. This one is unopened because I'm waiting for after the draft for the barrel proof. There it is right there. But check it out, alexanderjameswhiskey.com. It is the finest. And they take care of us, so we want you to take care of them. I want people to know that this podcast, this show, is taking care of the finest, alexanderjameswhiskey.com. It's time now to talk about the Bears in the NFL draft. If we're going to talk football, I can't do it by myself. I mean, I could, or I could just call Ken Davis. I can call him from the Windy City Pod, that Davis, and he joins us right here on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Sir, as always, appreciate the time.
Hey, I always appreciate hanging out with you, my guy. It's always good times here.
What are you in particular doing for the draft? What do you have planned between now and Saturday? As far as draft coverage, what are you doing?
I enter into a hyperbolic chamber. All right. The zen and the energy must be focused in a manner because we're going to a place that we only go once a year. No, I read everything. I unfortunately, Hoodie, I don't think the coverage is as good as it was in years past because of people's attention spans. I'm not even talking about the platforms as much as more to do with people's attention spans or whatever. I'm reading, I'm looking at some small. I just started looking more at some small school stuff for some of the positions I'm interested in. I got to go back to tonight. I'm getting a little bit of rest, even though like this whole week I'm up late. Like I'm not, it's always something, but I'm telling myself, you signed up for this and you've done it. And I mean, I've done it at a higher level than what I will be doing this year. And I will get back to that level where we're talking like NBC in the studio, covering the draft. And like, the fun parts of it is, just the impromptu and whatever. Doing episodes, the Windy City podcast tomorrow. We will be on after the draft or right. I think we're live streaming during when the Bears do their pick or after their pick. Looking at what the players that are available after tomorrow for Friday, and just going over trying to find out more about the players that the Bears can select or the Bears have already selected.
So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna split the baby because Under the Hood will also have a draft. Boom! See that there? Boom! Boom!
Right, that's nice. That's nice. That's not right there.
We will also have our coverage right up to the Bears pick. We will analyze the Bears pick, and we will talk there. It's against a low pick, nice. Low in the first round, but we'll be up and we'll do our coverage.
Mama, that man, who did that for you? You did that yourself? You can do that? You do that, sir? You doing it like that?
Alexander James Whiskey did that.
Oh, I should have known, sir. I should have known that.
I do have some football questions to ask you. But first, I'd like to ask you, sir, if Chance the Rapper is performing at Ravinia, does that mean he's fallen off?
No. No. Nah, not at all. One, because of the subgenre, I would say, kind of, that he comes from. I mean, it's funny when you say that about Chance. So me and my younger friends, we used to have this discussion.
I'm not saying anything, by the way, Ken. I'm asking the question.
No. I'm going through this because there may be people watching this that don't really know. They kind of know Chance, but they don't know Chance or whatever, right? Gotcha. So at one point, there was my younger friends thought he was going to be the number one rapper. Now, I never thought that. I found Chance in 2012. I think I found Acid Rap, which is a great mixtape. Go and listen to it if you haven't listened to it. I believe in 2012 I got down. I don't know if it was 2013. I think it was 2012. But I became a huge fan of him back then. And so then he had the album when he was like, I love my wife, I love my wife. And he was like, one of his fans are younger, then they weren't married. They did not want to hear that.
Yes.
But the point being was, I thought it was going to kind of be like what it was to a degree or whatever. So what I'm saying is, for instance, like Common. I'm not saying they're in the same subgenre or whatever. But point being, like, Common has been performing at Ravinia for probably like 15 to 20 years easy, right? And I mean, so now the Common is like older, but I'm talking about like even close to B Common, where he already has been popping since the late 90s, mid to late 90s. But now we're talking about we're in the late aughts, and he's actually on another level, and he's acting. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if we're saying so there's a difference compared to, like, and let me just say this, like, hypothetically, likes to say, like, and I don't know, I'm just pulling this name out of my hat, like a Ja Rule. And I mean, like, when Ja Rule was hot, like, what would I be without you?
Right.
Like, he popped out at Ravinia. You would kind of, because it's the people that are there. It's you wouldn't really get a DMX. Like, even when DMX wasn't at his zenith, he really wouldn't be at Ravinia, because that power, it's not even the content, it's partially the content, let me not lie, but also just the type of the energy that he is. So rappers that are more where it can be a laid back in the presence and stuff like that, not to say it can't get up, that's why for me, no. And also Chance being from here, there's a difference with performing at Ravinia when you're from Chicago, let alone if you're quote unquote cultured, with the people I'm making quotation marks. You're cultured from Chicago. Mm-hmm. There's a certain level of prestige with, oh yeah, I'm a performer in Ravinia. So for me, in my opinion, no, because it's not like he has to do it either. This isn't like, oh, he's slumming for shows. Doesn't he have a movie about to come out? He's not slumping for shows. He's like, so no, he doesn't have to do it. I think it's just him always showing love to the place that he's from and being one of those culture kids coming up out of the city.
He is on the lineup for 2026, Chance the Rapper, but also Kool and the Gang also will perform. So how should the Bears attack the draft?
You gotta have Kool in the Gang now. All right. First and foremost. All right. You got to have
I just want to let people know, if they hadn't seen the schedule, the Chance the Rapper will be there, as well as Morris Day in the Time.
First of all, don't you ever disrespect Morris Day in the Time.
I'm giving information. Was there an opinion? It was not. I said, I just want you to know that they're going to be there. And also Rod Stewart. Now, as far as the Chicago Bears are concerned.
So you're showing that the crossover appeal of a Chance the Rapper.
Yes.
That if you would want to see a Rod Stewart, if you love my body.
Yes.
You may also want to take in I Love My Wife.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely. Gotcha. This is me being the information man, Ken Davis. You have to
understand. I feel it. Yeah. I'm going along with you. I got you.
I'm just here asking the questions. Mm-hmm. That the streets are talking. So
I see, sir. My friend.
Chance the Rapper and Ravinia. Apparently not good enough for Horseshoe Casino. So now we turn to the Chicago Bears draft and asking you, how should the Bears attack the draft in the first round, Ken Davis?
You know what? To be honest with you, I think at 25, it's going to sound, it's not, I don't want to go full cliche best player available. I want to go best player available that is in your top 3 needs. Top 3.5 needs. All right. So I don't know if I don't look at a quality left tackle being at that spot. So at that point, I mean, last year you did show us you can go in the second round and you may be able to find you a left tackle project that actually was a right tackle, and all your pillow that played left tackle pretty decent because we weren't talking about him. All right. Surprisingly decent. All right. Decent is average. He was definitely above average, and we hope he recovers fast and then he's going to be back and even better than he can. You need as some type of pass rusher. Now, if you've ever saw me on the J Hood Show, I want a DT. Problem with that is there's really only one DT, first round DT in Woods out of Clemson, because Caleb Banks' foot knocks him out the first round. That's just the truth of the matter. Like, you can't have a player that his game is, you want the explosion out of his game. All right. And that foot is messed up. So you can't do that. So really, if there's not the DT that slips to you, like maybe someone's going for a quarter, maybe Ty Simpson gets drafted before the 25th pick, that could help you a little bit. I think that's going to be the other quarterback going in the first. If he goes in the first, Alabama, you need a safety. Now, if one of the top safeties falls to you at 25, I'm not mad at that at 25. It's not like 5. Now, in this draft with Caleb Downs, it wouldn't be crazy drafting a safety if you have a pass rush. Let me say that first. If your pass rush is really good and you don't need a left tackle and you have a quarterback, well, it's only one quarterback in this draft that really deserves to be a first-round quarterback, and he's going number 1, so the quarterback part doesn't matter. But Caleb Downs is seemingly seems his ceiling is great enough that you wouldn't look odd drafting him, and it's not like drafting a box safety. You know what I'm saying? Like I forgot the kid that the Giants drafted and ended up in Seattle about a decade ago. It's not one of those situations where you're drafting a guy that cannot coverage in a Pats league. Like, Caleb Downs can do anything that you want him to do, but usually you don't want to take a safety that high. Caleb Downs just looks that good that it wouldn't matter. But if you're at 25 and the Oregon kid or the Toledo kid is there and you want to take him, I wouldn't be upset, because at least the back end is now set for what would seemingly be the future, because that kid in the first round, you get the fifth year option on him. You got a Kobe Bryant there. It's not sexy, but it would make sure that the back end is safe. Of course, you wouldn't take a linebacker, off-ball linebacker, because if he was that good, he probably wouldn't be right there for anybody that was going to take him in the first round. But my real places that I'll be looking are on the defensive side. Edge rusher, there could be an edge rusher definitely there. I think I would want them to have a DT early in this draft. So if they get the edge rusher in the first and the DT and one of those second round picks, I'll be happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think if you just everything, look, there's going to be one position at least, if not more than that you're not going to be always happy with, because you can only fill in so many holes. And they filled in a lot of holes. And also, look, let's be honest, these two things. You did not think Drew Dalman was going to retire, right? You did not think you were going to be looking for left tackle until the end of the season, the second to last game of the season. You know what I'm saying? Like, you thought going and think about it. They didn't think they were going to have to take an offensive lineman, definitely with their first 3 picks, unless they just saw some guy and they were like, let's stash him for later. Or, man, this is a guy that can be a guard and maybe a tackle. And when Joe Thuney gets older, maybe he can step in. And that would be such a privilege to be able to do that. Not saying you would have to, but there's no way they went into this offseason, the second to last game of the season, thinking we got to get a left tackle, we got to get a center. That's not on them. Like, as much as you can blame them for something, those things are not on them. You didn't know Drew Dalman was going to retire and you're going to have to do this at left. So those things open up. And let's also be honest, they're in a situation where, what's the Ozzie Trapillo situation? Am I going to say we can hold off a season and we think he'll be back and we don't need to have a full-in replacement? Or are we going to be a stopgap, which it looks like that's what they may do, and we'll have to see. But I definitely think you got to go 2 rushers. I mean to say, not edge, 2 defensive linemen, I would hope, and probably a safety. But if you wanted to use it on the offensive lineman, I wouldn't be upset, because now an offensive lineman is a position of need.
So let's look into the trenches here on the offensive line. Okay, so Yes, you need to know who your left tackle is going to be. They pick up Jedrick Willis Jr., a guy from Cleveland. He's on the roster. Ozzie Trapillo is not available. You have Theo Benedict, and you also have Braxton Jones, who they signed for a one-year deal. Now, why did they do that? Because they probably looked around and said, well, if we're not going to draft one, at least we can bring him back. And apparently, like, Braxton's yoked now. Like, he came in the offseason and worked on his body. But here's the thing. You can't work on your ass in the offseason. If you ain't got an anchor, it's what it is. Like, you might be big up top, like being a guy that can move furniture around as someone that's going to protect the club. But it's not the same as you trying to protect your quarterback if you don't have a strong lower half. He can't develop the ass in the offseason unless you buy it. So that's not the case for Braxton Jones. Having said
BBL
that,
lineman.
just saying that. Having said that, you got to look at that, and then Bradbury is a fine stopgap for now at center. Tough spot, man. It's not just about the production; it's the leadership. So he's got to be able to speak and talk. Because the guy that retired, that guy was a leader, so that's tough. So I would, yes, you have to address at some point the future of your offensive line. But you and I have talked about this a ton. We're talking about this with David Kaplan on the morning show on ESPN Chicago, that you have to be able to find someone. If he's not a day one starter, Ken, it's someone that has to be in the rotation, in the mix soon on this defensive line. I could be optimistic and said, oh, guys are banged up, or guys they had to work out this whole, first year with Dennis Allen, talking about Sweat, Dexter, Jarrett, and the Dingbo. But again, you were very fortunate that you had a good season with a defensive line that couldn't get home. You're very fortunate. Linebackers and secondary are busting their ass to try to make plays and had these ridiculous interceptions. But I really want the Bears several times to address the defensive line. It's important. You can't. I mean, if a Dingbo is a guy that is a run stuffer, then he should be inside, but he's not. That doesn't work. Someone's got to rush the quarterback from the edge, man.
Right. No, I was never the biggest let's do the Colts thing again guy.
Yeah.
With Odingbo. And at some point too, you can't do bargain shopping. And I know partially it's because I went big ticket shopping with Montez Sweat. Yeah. But at some point you have to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, you know what? That Ferrari is just not that same Ferrari I thought I was getting. You know what? I still enjoy driving it sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But I may need a 911. If you can afford it, which I'm just saying, I may need something more. Which again, speaking of Montez Sweat, you gotta have a Batman. I'm just keeping it a buck. Gotta have a Batman because right now I'm gonna give him a Nightwing. I'm being very nice. I'm gonna give him a Nightwing. It's not a Robin.
It's not. It's barely the Butler.
He's a grown Robin that went off on his own, sir.
Catwoman. At times. Catwoman.
It's J Hood, y'all. J Hoodie.
If you're the owner of the Patriots, would you have fired Mike Vrabel for this scandal that he's involved in with Dianna Russini?
Not a chance. And again, I do think there should be something. Because this is the thing. It's always funny. There's always supposed to be a standard where the player should be reprimanded worse than the coach. General manager should be reprimanded more than the head coach, the owner, and then don't bring up the owner. And you know how that Florida situation got swept under the rug. No, if the problem is he is. Yes, sir. If J Hood's holding up petroleum jelly for the massage needed in you to make everything happy. But the point being, the coconut hydrate is now. He pulled that out if you're listening. But yeah, because there's a certain level, and there's first of all, this is the thing too. First, both of them are grown people. Let me first of all say that I outside of whoever their partner is, I don't care what those grown people did. All right. Like they did not sign a contract with Kenneth Davis. I don't know the agreement they had with their partners. All right. So none of us do. All right. Look, and I could be wrong in this. I'm sure Mike Vrabel's wife has probably had to put up with several situations with having Super Bowl winning former NFL player that's also a head coach that looks like just a big ass dude that you probably look at and say, hey, that's a football player. Or he's been out there long enough that people might be like, hey, that's Mike Vrabel, right?
Yeah.
So with fame comes certain things. So yes, I think that there should have been discipline, but he damn sure not. Dog, I'm gonna tell you this. I mean, and this is real life. Dog, if I have been where the Patriots were, and you had Jerome Mayo, you figured, hey, Vrabel's out there, Mayo, we're cutting bait. You have to go through those last Belichick years. Vrabel comes home, and you know that Vrabel. I'm sorry.
Vrabel. Yes, Betty Vrabel. Betty Vrabel. Mike Vrabel.
I apologize. Vrabel. That part. Vrabel. I'm having to go with that one. Mike. We'll call him Mike. Dude, that dude. Dude is free. Because, I mean, let's think about it. Hypothetically, if you're a New England Patriots fan, you have been wanting him to be your head coach probably since Belichick was starting to fall off, right? Like, you're going to be like, look at the people. Like, back in the days, like when Jeff Fisher was in Tennessee, I used to be like, man, I want him to be the Bears head coach or whatever, right? Yeah. Like, that's how it used to be, right? Knowing that he was a former player or whatever, something like that. So he gets there, takes your second-year quarterback to the Super Bowl, and you think I'm gonna fire him? Like, look, again, there's certain levels to how this affects the organization, and not a lot. I mean, unless he was just spending, it hits the problem is the time, his the way he was working with the amount of time, his time allocation can be the issue. If he's sitting there, he has to spend time with his family. He's also making sure he's trying to spend some time allegedly with her, and how that may not be enough time, or that he needs to be doing what he has to do for the team. All right, that would be the worry that I would have. We would have a discussion, and there would be some form of reprimand, right? A write-up, a reprimand. Don't do this again, right? But look, if you're gonna step out in your relationship, do not do it with someone that is reporting on us, that works for us, or has anything to do with us. Do I make myself firmly clear? Okay. And then we're moving on, and it doesn't have to be, I'll be honest with you. Does it have to be out and about? They could to say that, if they want to, but it may not either. But there will be a reprimand. It's not do you think, let me say this, Jay Hood. Do you think, sir, if Ben Johnson got caught stepping out with somebody in the media, that I'm going to sit there and be like, man, you know what? It's time to get rid of that offensive genius that we've always been wanting, that can also be head coach, because, nah, bro, that's just not how life works. Unfortunately.
I understand.
I'm being honest.
I understand what you're saying. I asked the question because this is a question of morality more so than anything else. Is he fireable? No. And by the way, he can't be fired if Robert Kraft is still the owner. And also Deflategate, and also the other stuff with Brady and Belichick and everything else. This, even though this has been a successful organization, they had a lot of controversy. Spygate. They had a lot of controversy, Ken. So it's like, it's hard for you to say, well, this is the line, Morality speaking, if there was something going on, and clearly there was, I don't know if it's a sexual nature, but the pictures are out there. And by the way, as we record this, there was more pictures that came out from the New York Post.
Really?
As of an hour ago. But it's kind of the same. The interlocking of the fingers, that like they're together, but you don't see them together. It's not peanut butter and jelly. It's just fruit roll-up standing. That's kind of what it is.
Okay.
So nothing of that has happened. But the point is, though, is that The Athletic asked Dianna Russini on her end, could you show us pictures of your friends being there in Sedona, Arizona, around the Red Rocks in that very private hotel? Can you show us the pictures of you and your friends? Can you show us pictures of any of your friends being there at that hotel? And she was not able to deliver. So she's out of a job. She resigns. And so I guess it's a deeper topic, but in my career, I've seen female reporters with people that are part of organizations. I'm aware of that in my years.
Can I get that file?
No. I mean, yes, you can. It just won't be on the air.
Not on the air. Not on the air. No.
But if you're a subscriber to Under the Hood, I'll tell you all the stories. Make sure that you're part of the Hoodie Club, and I'll tell you all the secret stories. No, but it is difficult when you are a female reporter because there is always the assumption that you're doing something to get stories. However, there's so many women that have worked hard to be able to get away from that narrative. They just do journalism. And no matter what the bottom of the comment section says, no matter what people are saying, hey man, there's a lot of women that do their job. Dianna Russini was really up close and personal with Mike Vrabel. And on her part, it was wrong for her to be in a bikini in which she thought she was in secret. And also it was wrong for Mike Vrabel to be able to do the same thing. They thought there was a private situation.
Which was wild, J Hood.
And somebody had a PI. Somebody knew that they were going to be up there. And I don't know if it's from Russini's family or Vrabel's family or the Patriots family, but someone knew, or the Athletics family, whatever. Someone knew they were up there. That's why the pictures were taken.
Hoodie, though.
No, that wasn't happenstance.
There was no code. The code. All right. Can I ask you a question? Can I have a sidebar here?
Sure.
All right. Were you ever given the code, or did you it was embedded in you?
Now you got to tell the audience what the code is. And the code is
there's a certain way to do certain things. All right. And in that, I mean, there's not a chance. This is twofold too, because there's a larger layer. Both of these people are famous. Okay.
Sure.
So that you apply that on top of the code. All right. But the code, if let's hypothetically say you're stepping out, and this is more for, I think this applies to male and females, but I'm a male, right?
Yep.
You're stepping out. There's a certain places you're not going to step out to a degree.
Correct.
Let alone are we, and we're both famous in the NFL, going to be at the pool, all right? Mm-hmm. At an adults resort with each other, and we basically in some ways work alongside one another regularly, and there's no type of industry thing happening here. There's just not a chance. I mean, unless again, like I say, I don't know what the home thing, but even just if the home is open, nobody else knows that, and you're still famous. Like that to me, there are personally for rich people, and both of them are well-to-do.
Yes.
Places where you can go and rent that have pools that are large enough to feel as you're in this with, if it's got to be that serious, with NDAs for people that if you wanted to have service and you need all of that to have this vacation, you can do certain things to make sure that this doesn't happen. And this is where sloppiness. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like, and again, I don't know what's going on, but for him, for both of them, because wow, to be your husband. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
Brutal.
God.
Who she rips, by the way. I don't know if it's playfully or if it's, I mean, you go through the things she said, like I guess he's not a bad guy, but I think she always uses him for a comedic fodder.
Which is
strange,
in
right?
In the streets where you're with alphas all the time.
Yeah.
And you've basically said, hey, you know, my man is not an alpha regularly.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Now look, you say it a couple times, that's fine.
Yeah.
But like a lot of the interviews I saw her, she was kind of running down her husband. And Mike Vrabel's never said anything about his wife and kids, but you asked the question, the code. The code starts with this right here. It starts with the yellow pad. You know why it starts with the yellow pad? And you know why this pad's important? Is because I saw how not to do this properly. And I wrote it down and said, I will never be caught up in a limo with somebody that's not my wife or my girlfriend, because that would be in the Chicago Sun-Times the next day.
Yeah.
See, I'm not going to be caught up in that, you see.
And do you know what let us all down, all us young black children, J Hood, to know that she was out in those streets like that as I was growing up listening to you all those years, J Hood?
And I was out in those streets, but also I looked around to see where I was, always conscious at all times of what's going on. Always. Now, listen, this you're talking to someone, as you well know, that spent a lot of time on the air at night and had a free reign to do whatever I wanted to do after midnight, after 1 a.m. in this city. There's a lot of places that I went, a lot of athletes that I saw, a lot of places that I've been, but not in the eyes of paparazzi, not in the eyes of people that can be like, hey, aren't you? Oh, no. I'm Keith Jennings from the Chicago Bears. Or I'd be a whole bunch of people. I wouldn't be Jonathan Hood, though. This is, of course, before social media, though, where people can ID you see. So what I would tell you is that, I'm the worst of the celebrities. I've been a radio guy for a long time. You think about the celebrity scale, I'm doing sports radio. Like, I don't consider myself a celebrity. I consider myself, as you well know, Jay Hood from the South Side.
Right.
By the back alleys of the Southeast Side. That's who I am. Right. I don't because for everyone else, that's fine, but I never consider myself that. However, even though I know I have to represent a brand, not just mine, but the radio station or wherever I'm working, and you have to look around, see and find out your environments, and also find out if there's a camera in the motel room that you dragged a girl into. So there's always that. When you take a look at Caleb Williams and what he had to say, smooth, just like Alexander James whiskey, folks. A smooth transition. That's right, the official whiskey of Under the Hood with Jay Hood, Alexander James whiskey. Go to the website alexanderjameswhiskey.com. Segue. We go to Caleb Williams, who got a chance to speak to the media the other day. And Caleb Williams said, you know what we did last year? Don't matter. He said that all the accomplishments, all the great throws, all the wins that the Bears had, those come behind victories that we celebrated, doesn't mean anything. He said, we didn't do anything last year. This is a new year. Cole Kmet said the same thing. Ken Davis. This all comes from Ben Johnson. So it's funny that he says they did nothing. But when it comes to contract time, would they have done anything when they're looking for more money?
A lot.
Or does the resume come back?
Big time. Yeah. Like for instance, his own contract. Yes. Isn't like, man, you know what I did? You know how y'all was before I got here? You know what the first year, let me tell you what I did. We went to the playoffs and I almost could have won the damn thing, right? But I love the fact that you say this because, and mind you, huge Ben Johnson fan. Yeah. To a degree, you definitely have to establish this is a new season. But if last year wasn't something to build off of, you would be in a lot of trouble, right? Also, you already know, and you've said this about your time allocation, I'm referring to Ben Johnson, that this year I'm going to be with the defensive side and the special teams more because the offense knows the scheme better. What does that imply? That implies that parts of last year do affect this year because they know the system that they're in. There's a familiarity with it. So I like the mantra to make sure there's the pattern on the back needs to stop. But in all fairness, and it's due to, well, you know, even if they had some more setbacks last year, if they learn from them this year, it will be good. But still, the fact you had a terrific season, now you add to it. If the season may not be as easy now, and I say easy like they didn't have a ton of injuries last year. They could have some injuries that really could affect them, or they could have just regression. But then they could come back and show that was just this year, or things aren't always linear. Like that's the thing to remember, particularly with sports teams. Sometimes things are not always linear. It was like, okay, we made it to this year. So next year we're going to make it to the next step above that or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, but to get to where you were going, come on. I know it's to a degree is word salad because the fact you did play well last year, you're saying that if you played bad, you wouldn't necessarily be saying the same thing. You'll be saying there's lessons to be learned from the past season.
I am looking forward to what the Bears do in the draft, but also I just want to see what life is like without DJ Moore. So DJ Moore, now Buffalo Bill, he'll be wide receiver 1 for Josh Allen. It'll be a target that I'm sure that he'll enjoy. But now when I look at Rome Odunze, man, I am looking forward to seeing what he brings because this is a pivotal year for Rome Odunze. Like, you know, missing time last year and issues. So, I mean, when you look at the wide receiver room now without DJ Moore, Is it as good or better than last year?
Oh, it's less than last year because DJ Moore never got hurt. Like you mentioned, Rome went down. There was still a learning curve with Luther Burden. The both of them are going to get better. You would hope are going to get better. Mm-hmm. Colston Loveland, though, I mean, I like to say, I hate to say it, he definitely expectations he's going to keep excelling at what he's doing. So that definitely helps you with DJ. But listen, there was a disconnect. There was something not always on par with Caleb and DJ. And I don't know if I've said this on here before, and this is on a higher level. I never felt that Mike Evans and Tom Brady were like, they saw everything the same, you know what I'm saying? But they were both so good that they could overcome that. They're both Hall of Famers. So they were playing at a high level, but it was never like, and it's Brady to Randy Moss, you know, and that was the first year, like that Brady to Randy Moss connection clicked. And that was off of Randy having some bad seasons with the Raiders. So I'm saying it like that. Or Brady with his small wide receivers, when he was like, they wasn't eye to eye. So it's a lower level, but it wasn't, and it's not a bad thing. Sometimes that just happens where it doesn't necessarily, they don't click. So for me, I said this when they drafted Luther Burden, could DJ be on the clock? Not saying that it was an automatic, but when you look at what they have in the room, the amount of money DJ was entering, even though he signed it the year before, he was about to enter to his extension. It makes sense. And you got a second round pick.
Yeah.
To go ahead and cut, get rid of DJ. It made sense. I thought it made perfect sense. I would have done it for a third rounder probably, if I could, to get a second rounder. But let's not lie, taking away your healthiest wide receiver, who's supposed to be your lead guy, has been in and out and has had problems with sometimes catching the ball. It's a body catcher. No, I like Rome Odunze. He has something to prove. He has to prove he can be a number one. And he has to prove why he was drafted in the top 10. So it's a lot of this falls on him. It doesn't fall as much on Luther because he's a year younger. And think about it also, he fell into the second round. All right. There's a reason he fell into the second round. This isn't Rome going in the top 10, drafted in the same draft as your quarterback that were palling around before the draft. You know what I'm saying? Let's not forget about that. I remember talking to Rome, you know what I'm saying, about, hey, coming here, how these things could be. And great dude. Great. Listen, if he clicks, the city will be his. I promise you the city will be his if it clicks. But no, he has a lot to prove. So no, it's definitely not stronger. Now, in saying that, can they play well enough? Well, it mitigates it and it makes it a non-factor. If they stay healthy, yes, they can definitely do that. You know what I'm saying? But no, it was a necessary thing to do. But I won't sit here and say that they're stronger without DJ Moore. Hell to the no.
The guy right over your shoulder is Ryan Poles on the screen there. How big is this draft for him? I mean, considering that you had a successful first year with Ben Johnson, how much leash do you think that Ryan Poles has, knowing that, hey, man, once you won the North, people expect you to do it again, and they expect you to do it again until you knock it down, right, to get to an NFC Championship game and win it, get to the Super Bowl. So how much pressure do you think Ryan Poles is under?
A good amount, because I think Ryan Poles is still trying to establish what he's doing with Ben Johnson. You see what I'm saying? Like, Ben Johnson has a lot of power in this situation, and in this relationship, like if you give Ben Johnson 2 to 3 good drafts, he's never really gonna want you to leave him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you good to go. You getting him what he wants, and there's gonna be that power. Your power is gonna get increased closer to what it was prior to him being there or whatever. But it's important because, one, and it's what you opened up with, you had no chance of rushing the passer last year. Like, let's be honest, and this is a great thing about last year in the football. How bad that pass rush was, it was no way they should have been in the playoffs.
Right.
Like,
That's true.
just being honest with you. Like, if you just being honest, like, because you don't expect to get that many turnovers like that, particularly without pressure. Like, they're getting all those turnovers with no. Of course, Dennis Allen's sending the kitchen sink and the bathtub, right? But at some point, that couldn't get there because teams know they can't send the kitchen sink, right? Feel the gaps, right? Get outside. So the safety's coming. The safety's coming. Watch the nickel. The nickel's hot, right? You know, at some point, because these down 4 guys ain't doing shit. All right, we're not worried about. Listen, don't worry about just block the down 4 like you do. All right, watch the linebackers. All right, the nickels and the safe. That's height. We got it. All right, let's go. So think about that. They played majority, if not all last year, not worrying about that defensive line, basically, right? And we're able to still have a chance to almost get to the big dance. So you got to go get Dennis Allen some dogs, man. Even if the offensive line, so let's say if offensive line we viewed it as playing at 90% last year, if it goes down to 80, right?
Yeah.
But the defensive line goes from, I'm be generous, 50. Which is really, it was in this, if I say 40, if it goes from there to almost 70, you know what I'm saying? Get closer to that. If you're in the high 60s, it can mitigate some of the stuff with the losses on the back end, because if you can get to there with 4, it's going to create wobbly balls and stuff coming out that those guys are going to be able to get. Because that means props to those guys getting those interceptions and those fumbles last year without pressure. You know what I'm saying? But no, this is still a big draft for Ryan Poles, but I feel like I'll be bogus if I haven't said the 2 drafts prior to this were huge. And in all fairness, he's done. If Rome pans out, he's done pretty good. You know what I'm saying? He's done a really nice job these last. And that's first year was before Ben Johnson got here, and then last year, listen. Everybody played and helped you basically last season that you drafted, which is crazy, right? And this wasn't a situation where you were a bad team, right? So you usually have to play all your rookies, but usually that doesn't equal you being in the playoffs, and not even just being in the playoffs, being a threat, being feared to be faced in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Because Green Bay can say whatever they want. They did not want some more of that smoke.
No,
at the end, they without Michael Parsons, they did not want. It'd be like, man, we can get around them. They did not want that smoke. And again, thinking about that, and think about DJ. You know, like what this year would have been without DJ with some of those crucial passes that he had. But yeah, this is a big draft because this could really finish setting you guys up to where the next couple of years, and I mean after this year, you could really start to try to get into a Super Bowl.
Lastly, Ken. And I appreciate your time, sir. When I talked to Ryan Poles last time I had a discussion with him, I asked him, I said, man, you're looking good, man. I said, what is the music that you use when you work out? It's like, what motivates you musically? And he looked at me, he said, nothing special, just top 100.
Whoa.
Ken.
Nah.
Ken. No, Ryan Poles, the general manager of the Chicago Bears, who I respect, by the way. I think that he's hanging in there, doing a nice job. But he told me when he works out, AirPods in, he's giving me Bruno Mars' Risk It All. He's giving me Harry Styles' Aperture. He's giving me, Taylor Swift and Olivia Dean. He's giving me Pink Pantheress and Zara Larsson.
No, bro. Sorry.
You working out with that, bro? I mean, he goes, nothing special, just top 100.
That hurts me. It hurts that you told me that. I mean, it hurts me. I mean, if that motivates you, it's funny when you say that. Like, for instance, I can remember thinking about how, Michael Jordan didn't grow up with hip hop, right?
No.
So, when you hear, he's coming to the game listening to Anita Baker and things like that, you can get it. But, for me, just going in and out of work and leaving in front of my house for and I'd say I wouldn't do it in general, but the last couple months, my music sounds like I definitely pedal in the powder, right? Like it's got to be motivational.
Right.
It's got to give me like we out here doing it. We doing it big, baby. All we do is do it big. Like I need that energy, like that mindset of we was outside when we were younger. Like, oh man, don't run up and find out. Like just for me. Like and again, mind you, that's not this means that I don't enjoy different genres of music and I don't like R&B and rock and no, that's not it. And there could be some rock songs, but I don't know if they wouldn't be new that I would really be using to give me that type of energy or whatever.
Right.
But for that go-to it's gonna have something where something's been distributed perhaps, and we're gloating over the amount of money that we're making. Because that's just I mean, let's go. Let's like I don't know. I mean, you play sports.
Yep.
And there's a certain thing, and just even like my job now, where it's like you got to be ready, right?
Yeah.
And I can't listen to love music and be ready, but I need to be in a certain mindset, and I know what I need to get me amped up. And it doesn't always have to be negative, as saying we're joking, but just to be firm with you, it doesn't always have to be negative. It has to be something that just wants me to get up and go and push. I feel like pushing me over the edge if I'm trying to lose this weight that I need to hurry up and keep losing.
For him, it's Zach Bryan and Plastic Cigarette.
Jayla, you were wild.
I'm just saying, you music how you want to music. All I'm saying to you, Ken Davis, is that there's got to be like a top 10 of like when you're trying to get that extra plate on that bar and you're trying to lift it, or you're trying to get that extra rep or extra 10 reps. It's got to be something that pushes you through. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
and for him, it's just love. It's love me not. That's what it is.
Okay, so let me ask you this: how can I just play one of my favorite songs over?
No,
I can't because it's gonna cost you. I can't even play a snippet of it. Not a snippet.
A snippet, yes.
Yeah,
it's the end of the show, so it's okay.
Yeah, okay. So for me, this is one of I'll get it 10 seconds. Just let me find it real quick.
Because you can't give me banana down here. We built this YouTube pretty well here, and then Ken Davis takes it down.
I would never
with 10 seconds of N-word music.
No, it should not have I would never let that come fly across here, because here it goes. So this is one of my go-to hype songs to get me in my right mind.
Okay.
I'm trying to stop it. All right.
Okay.
Even the old ladies upstairs, like it's just when you come from a certain. She's high.
What did she say?
What did you say?
It's all there.
She said it's all there. The song it says it's all there. It's all there.
I mean, just 10 seconds, all of a sudden she's turned. It's amazing.
Yes, she is. Yes, she's ready to go. She's up. It's like
it's all there.
Yes,
ma'am, this is a Wendy's. What is she doing here? You tell her, please comport yourself in a professional manner. This is a well-viewed podcast here. Please. It's not 79th and Stony at the White Castle at 3 a.m. Please, ma'am.
Oh, but the nights, J Hood, the nights there. Like, see, that's where her and I and you, we come from. That was the end of a night where we got to go to the strip. We got to go to the strip, even as dangerous as the strip is.
Yeah,
we have to go there, right? We have to go.
Oh, the nights there.
Yes, definitely. It was like Boys in the Hood when they were on Crenshaw.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yes.
So glorious.
Folks, make sure that you go to your local White Castle in the parking lot at 3 a.m. It's always a great time. Motorcycles, muscle cars, all there.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you check it out. Where can people find you, Ken?
You can find me at That's Davis always on all platforms. You can also always check me out on the Windy City podcast. Again, we have a show tomorrow. Believe we're live streaming, but make sure, particularly J Hood fans, you're watching. Look at that banner he put up. You better be here. But all weekend, we will be coming back to you. And we'll be hitting next week with probably someone to help further break down the draft. Alex Shapiro and myself. And I always appreciate you bringing me on.
Ken Davis, everybody. Here for the culture and the football.
For sure.
Mostly culture. Right here on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. So for Ken Davis, this is Jonathan Hood, reminding you that Chance the Rapper will be at Ravinia this year. Make sure you support him and more stay at the time. Jerome will also be there with the mirror. So long, everybody. Huh?
Jerome got to be there.
He will be there with the mirror. That's exactly right. Old act, but still works. So long, everybody. Thanks for watching and listening to Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood, presented by Alexander James Whiskey, the official whiskey of Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood.
If you got me 2 bottles, I would only drink one for a while, and we could both hold one up at the same time at the end of the show.
Take your ass to Kenwood Liquor.
This ain't no Kenwood.
So long, everybody.